Hello everyone, my name is Joseph and welcome back to the Popsicleknight channel. This video is sponsored by PTCGLstore.com, a great place for you to buy Pokemon TCG code cards. Please remember to use my code KNIGHT22 at checkout so that you can get a 5% discount. Thank you guys so much for your support and for your supporting PTCGLstore.com. In today's video, I'll be showcasing Charizard EX from the Obsidian Flames expansion set. This time, however, Charizard EX is a Stage 2 Terrestrialized Dark-type Pokemon instead of Fire. It has an impressive 330 HP, making it hard to get knocked out, and it has the ability Infernal Rain. When you play this card from your hand to evolve into this Charizard EX, you may search your deck for up to 3 basic Fire Energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. And while Charizard EX is a Dark type, it still uses Fire Energies to attack. So for 2 Fire Energies, Burning Darkness deals 180 plus damage. However, for each prize your opponent has already taken, this attack increases by 30 more damage. So if your opponent is down to their last prize, this attack will be dealing as much as 330 damage, and that pretty much one hit knocks out most Pokemon in the game. While Charizard's ability is awesome, I will not be using it in this build since I'll be using Orbeetle to put it into play. Orbeetle has the attack Evimency. Depending on how many energies are attached on this Pokemon, you can search your deck for that many Stage 2 Pokemon and put it straight to your bench, completely bypassing all of their initial stages. Orbeetle though is a high risk, high reward setup, and by focusing on Orbeetle as the main engine, the probability of your winning a game greatly depends on how well you can set up all of your Stage 2 Pokemon on your bench, and majority of the times we'll need to start the game with Blipbug so that we can evolve it into Orbeetle. Thankfully though, we also have this Luxray with the Explosiveness ability. When you're just setting up to play at the beginning of a game, and if this card happens to be in your hand, you can actually start with this as your active Pokemon just as you would normally with a basic Pokemon. And its attack is very useful for just 1 colorless energy. Seeking Fang not only deals 50 damage, but you can also search your deck for up to 2 trainer cards and put them into your hand. With this attack, you can find the cards you need to help evolve into your Orbeetle. Now, the best combination that I found for this Charizard EX are with these Pokemon. First, I have this Charizard with the Burn Brightly ability, which doubles each of your basic Fire Energies in play. This will allow Charizard EX to attack with a single energy. Second is Pidgeot EX. It has an extremely useful ability called Quick Search, which pretty much just lets you get any one card from your deck, but you can only use 1 Quick Search ability per turn. And that brings us to our third supporting Pokemon, Gallade. Thanks to its Buddy Catch ability, it will allow you to search your deck for 1 supporter card and put it into your hand. With all of these Pokemon working together, Charizard EX can almost always get its target, dealing massive damage. As for the other cards worth noting, first I have Cheryl, which can help full heal all of our evolution Pokemon. And finally, I also have the Panic Mask Tool card. If you happen to reduce your opponent's HP down to just 40 HP or lower, that Pokemon will not be able to deal any damage to your Pokemon with this tool card on it. Trust me, you'll love this card on this deck. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. And now let me show you how this Charizard EX build works. Alright, going right into our first match. My opponent wins the coin flip, so they are going first. And we're gonna keep this hand because Luxray is awesome with its Explosiveness ability. You can put that into the active spot. We have Level Ball for our Blipbug and a basic energy to put on our Luxray. So those are the 3 components you always want to start with. And my opponent's going to start with a Pidgey in the active spot. They have Battle VIP Pass. And a Charmander and an Arceus V. Look at that, guys. This is a mirror match, but just different approach. Who will come out on top, we'll find out in this match. But Arceus V-Star is actually really powerful. It is a great addition to that build because it has an ability that can help them to get 2 of any cards from their deck that will help them to set up their Charizard EX, and then they can just accelerate those energies and start attacking on their next turn. That is if they can get an evolution for their Arceus V-Star, but also that can help them get a Pidgeot EX, much like ours, and it also has an ability Quick Search, which helps them to find any 1 card from their deck. So very powerful combination, very popular combination actually. So let's see what we could do here. We got a Charizard from our top deck. Maybe we can use our opponent's Artisan and get our Blipbug instead. And that's gonna help us spare an extra card so we can use our Ultra Ball at some point. And we can attach this energy. We already have an Orbeetle, so what I'm gonna get here since my opponent has the potential to deal a knockout blow against our Luxray, I'm gonna get a right hand, and then what we need is a rare candy. So now, this is always the ideal start, right? So if my opponent gets to knock out my Luxray, we can use our right hand, because right hand, of course, requires that one of our Pokemon gets knocked out on our opponent's turn before we can use it, and we need a basic energy in our discard pile to use right hand. And once we do that, we can accelerate an extra energy to Blip Bug, get reversal energy so we can get 3 instant energy, since we will be behind on prize. We can use rare candy to evolve into Orbeetle, and then we can get at least 4 stage 2 Pokemon on our bench. So my opponent still has to work on getting their Charizard EX to evolve, but they have Arceus Starbirth ability, and that's gonna get them 2 cards from their deck. So whatever cards they already have on their hand, all they have to do is fill that in, and if they can evolve into a Pidgeot EX, they can also get an extra card that way. So my opponent has a very powerful start here. It really depends on what cards they have on their hand already. But that's the plan. Hopefully they don't boss my Blip Bug. That's the only problem with this build, really, is if you cannot set up into Orbeetle soon enough, and then your opponent will just start knocking it out. And there's the term, I don't know, gatekeeping, where they just prevent you from evolving into an Orbeetle. And when that happens, you actually need at least 2 Blip Bugs on your bench. That way they can only target 1, leave 1 alive, and still be able to evolve into an Orbeetle. So my opponent manages to evolve into a Charizard EX. Now they can use their Infernal Rain ability, an ability that we will not be using because we only need 1 energy, supposedly, to attack. So let's see what my opponent does here. They will put their Charizard EX in the active spot, putting double turbo energy on Arceus V-Star, and most likely they're just gonna attack and knock out our Luxray. Okay, before doing that though, they're gonna use Artisan, put another Pidgey on their bench, and a Magma Basin, and they can use that to accelerate an energy to Charmander before it evolves into an EX, because Magma Basin only works on fire types, not dark types. So once they evolve into a Charizard EX, they cannot use Magma Basin to accelerate energy. So they're gonna go ahead and just knock out my Luxray, and that's awesome. So everything is going according to plan. Now Mesagoza might mess us up here because my opponent might use it to their advantage. So we're just gonna use right hand, and we're gonna get a reversal energy. Our only one is prized. All right, so at least we have 1 to work with. Evolve into our Orbeetle, and now we can put at least 4 stage 2 Pokemon on our bench. Fortunately, we don't have another Blip Bug. Could have been able to set that up, but it is what it is. But for the meantime, Charizard EX's attack are not gonna make that much difference because it's not dealing enough damage, so we should be okay here. So I'm just gonna get Charizard, 2 Charizard, Burning Brightly, and 1 Pidgeot EX, although Gallade could be very useful. But I'm gonna go with these 4 for now. So we have Charizard with the Burn Brightly. We can attack for 1 fire energy, and then Pidgeot EX can get us that energy, or even get a right hand to accelerate an energy to our Charizard EX, and then find another card from our deck. So we've only used up 1 right hand, so we should be good. Now, I could have put 2 Pidgeot EX, right? But the reason why I didn't is because Pidgeot EX is actually a liability. It only has 280 HP, and it will really cost us 2 prizes if it gets knocked out. And to top it off, you can only use 1 quick search ability per turn. So even if you have 2 Pidgeot EX, you can only use 1 of those abilities. So Gallade, I think, is such an awesome combination with Pidgeot EX, since we're just setting up our stage 2s really quickly. So Pidgeot EX can find any one card, and then Gallade can find a supporter card, and it's just a beautiful combination. But for now, we're just gonna go with these 4 on our bench. We have Pidgeot EX to get our fire energies from our deck, and then we're just gonna go with that, right? They're gonna target one of our Charizard EX, and that is okay with us. They're not gonna deal a knockout blow because we haven't taken any prizes yet, so their attack damage output is not that great just yet. So and that goes the same for us actually, so we'll have to plan this out carefully, because now one of our Charizard EX has the damage on it, and it is within knockout range of our opponent's attacks. So I'm just gonna use Pidgeot EX, and I think well, we need an energy for sure, but healing up this Charizard EX would be great. But I think I'm just gonna switch out for the meantime and just use Orbeetle one more time, right? And I could set up, I'm thinking Gallade, really. Just gonna switch out their Magma Basin, because really it won't be useful to my opponent anymore. Even if they evolve into another Pidgeot EX, they can only use one of those. So could go for another Charizard EX though, but I think Gallade is the most useful, because now what we could do is find an energy, use Gallade to get Cheryl to heal up our Pokemon, and yeah, go with that. So really, Gallade and Pidgeot EX is such an awesome combination, because now you have these 2 search engines that can get you 2 cards that you will need for your turn. Could be Boss's Orders, Cheryl to heal up, full heal your Charizard EX, and then you got Pidgeot EX to find whatever you need. But I think they're gonna go for the knockout here. So they're gonna boss my Charizard EX. So that's 2 prizes for my opponent to take. But that's okay. The more they take, the more powerful our Charizard EX becomes. So we're gonna take that. We're gonna take advantage of that. We got an Iono. So let's get going here. So I'm gonna do a quick search for an energy for sure. And Panic Mask could actually be very useful in this match. So even though we don't deal a knockout blow, we could prevent them from dealing any damage. So I'm gonna just discard these 2 because we don't have an energy, and I'm just gonna use Right Hand, take advantage of this, and then we can do an extra search with Right Hand's effect. So I'm gonna go for the Panic Mask here and put it on our Charizard EX, and then I'm gonna use Gallade and set up for Cheryl for our next turn, because they're gonna deal an attack next turn. It's gonna be huge damage, but it won't be enough to knock us out. So 270 damage to their Charizard EX. So that's 60 HP left to their Charizard, so they can still actually damage our Charizard EX here. Yeah, they've used up 2 Boss's Orders already. That's very important, keeping track of their Boss's Orders. And they need 3 more prizes, so it's gonna take a while for them to get through our Charizard EX, but Pidgeot EX can be a potential target here, and we have to just watch out for that. So 270 damage for 3 prizes. So even if we take 3 prizes, Pidgeot EX can survive an attack, surviving 10 HP. So keeping that in mind could be important, unless my opponent has a Vitality Band or something to increase their attack damage. That could make a big difference. So our Orbeetle's still alive, but we're not too worried about my opponent targeting my single prize Pokemon. Although that could be an incentive, because once they knock out one of our 2 prizers, They just need to target one of our weaker Pokemon. So they're gonna hit for 180 damage. We have Cheryl. We can use that, and then we can just get another energy from our deck with Pidgeot EX finding that for us. So for now though, I'm gonna retreat. I think this is the best option. I'm gonna use Cheryl. You were gonna discard that energy anyways. Quick search, and let's see, I'm gonna go for an energy for sure. And then I could go for another Charizard. No, I'm gonna attack. That way we can knock out this Charizard EX. Not have to worry about it, since we can use our energies to our advantage anyways. That allows us to use Zen Headbutt. Because we are behind on prizes, that counts as 3 rainbow energies basically. So now that we got our 2 prizes, this is what's gonna happen, right? Once we... Well, my opponent's gonna knock out Orbeetle, for sure. And then what we could do is deal enough damage to their Charizard EX, because that's the one that's actually dealing knockout blows on this matchup, and that's gonna be enough to knock out our Pidgeot EX. They also have Radiant Charizard, which can deal as much as 250 damage, but if they have some type of attack modifier, that could increase, but I don't think they can knock out our Pidgeot EX. So Orbeetle's knockout against their Charizard EX, I think, was the best option. They'll knock it out. They'll have 2 prizes left, but for them to do that, they either need to knock out our Pidgeot EX or knock out our Charizard EX. Right now, their Charizard EX is not dealing enough damage to knock out our Pidgeot EX in 1 hit. So if we can only prevent their Charizard EX from dealing damage to our Charizard EX, we can work our way into being able to knock out at least 2 of their 2 prizers, right? Alright, so they knock out our Orbeetle. As of right now, we can actually deal a knockout against this Charizard EX. So I'm going to go for a Boss Orders. We got it from our top deck, which is awesome. Although we could have gotten that with Gallade or even our Pidgeot EX. So we are in a roll here. We're dealing 300 damage with Burning Darkness. So that puts their Charizard EX to 1... how would you say? 10 HP, but 1 HP counter left, right? So they're going to start getting our Pidgeot EX, but it's not going to be enough to deal a knockout blow because we've only taken 2 prizes. And what we need is to get our Cheryl back into the deck. And this is why Pidgeot EX and Gallade is actually such a beautiful combination. Because with Pidgeot EX, I can get my Palpad, recover my Cheryl, and maybe a Boss Orders, and then use Gallade to get Cheryl to full heal my Pokemon. And Pidgeot EX has a free retreat, so we can just retreat it easily. And then once we knock out this Charizard, my opponent's Charizard EX, they won't have any Pokemon that can deal a 1-hit knockout to our 2 prizer Pokemon. So Pidgeot EX has 280, Arceus V-Star doesn't hit for that much, and their Charizard, Radiant Charizard, only hits for 250. And since we're not gonna be behind on prizes, I don't think there's an attack modifier that can attack for more than 280 damage. So yeah, they're only hitting for 240 damage. Our Pidgeot EX survives, so we're just gonna go ahead and use its quick search ability. There's the Palpad, man. If that was prized, I will be crying. Although they did use up a lot of their boss orders already, so they might not have enough. So we're just going to recover Cheryl and boss orders. We're going to use Gallade to get our Cheryl. Thankfully, our Charizard EX does not have any damage on it, so we can just full heal our Pidgeot EX, preventing it from getting knocked out at all. And once we take care of their Charizard EX, we won't have any problem whatsoever. And we're just going to deal 300 damage to knock it out. And there you have it. We pretty much win the game because now they don't have any Pokemon that can deal a one-hit knockout to any of our two prizers. So yeah, there you guys have it. All it takes is a little bit of strategy, and you can make any of this thing work. You know, even though it seems like you're losing, you can turn it around if you use. Sometimes you'll make mistakes, but you know, you learn from it. But looks like we're in a good position here. We have an even prize, so they don't have anything that can increase their Radiant Charizard's attack, and it's not gonna be enough to knock out either our Pidgeot EX or Charizard EX. And if they've already consumed all of their boss's orders, they can't pick off our benched Pokemon at this point. So we have a really strong team on our side here, and we can just continue to control this matchup. I only have one Palpad in this deck, so I can only really use Cheryl twice in a game, but it should be enough to get us through the whole game, because Charizard EX deals a lot of damage and it can tank a lot of hits. So for the most part, you'll always have an advantage. For the most part, you're gonna use Iono, but that's gonna be useless. We have a support search engine and also a quick search with Pidgeot EX that can get us any card from our deck. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good matchup. We're dealing enough damage to get their Pidgeot EX into the active and knock it out with one hit with Charizard EX. And we can even get their Arceus V-Star, to be honest with you. So that's going to get us our last two prizes to win this match. And I don't think my opponent has any other way to win this one. And they don't even have an energy for their Radiant Charizard. So that's gonna be it for us, guys. Yeah, don't underestimate my build. So I'm just gonna take care of this Radiant Charizard for the meantime. And there you have it. There's a concession and good game. Alright, let's get right into another match. This time we really have no choice but to start with the Blipbug because it is a basic Pokemon. And that's gonna go in our active spot. I put 4 copies of Luxray in this deck, so that will increase the probability of you starting with a Luxray. But when you start with a Blipbug, it's a little bit awkward and a little bit on the edge, dangerous start. But we do have a rare candy. All we need to get is an Orbeetle. Hopefully that's gonna get us through for another turn. We have a basic energy, which is pretty good. I just put that on Blipbug and hopefully evolve into an Orbeetle. So we're actually going against a Ting Lu EX build. So this is pretty dangerous matchup actually, because once they spread those damage counters to our Pokemon, that's gonna prevent us from using our abilities. And there's a Gape Jaw Bog Stadium. I'm not too scared of that because we have Mesagoza first of all to bump it out, but also once we put our Pokemon into play, it'll be through Orbeetle. So it won't affect us that much. But yeah, my opponents, all they need to do is basically discard a bunch of energies and then they can use Dino Cry using Koraidon EX and accelerate those energies, and Ting Lu EX can attack on their second turn. So this is gonna be very dangerous. I need heads here, so I'm gonna use Mesagoza. Hopefully Yeah! Yes! Alright. And our blip bug is not prized. So we got 2 blip bugs. And I'm just gonna put it on the active spot. And I'm gonna end my turn. So here's what's gonna happen, okay? This is a little bit of a dangerous start for us. Because Ting Lu EX, if they manage to attack this turn, they can put damage counters to our benched blip bug. But it won't be enough to knock it out, so I'm fairly confident that they're not gonna knock out both of our blip bugs. Alright, they're gonna use Peony to get their Koraidon, to get that energy to attach onto Ting Lu, so they can get a knockout on our blip bug. And with Hawlucha's 1 damage counter, 150, knocking out our blip bug, 2 damage counters to our benched blip bug, but it's not enough to knock it out. So we're in a good spot here. Thankfully we got right hand on our start. If we didn't, we pretty much lose this game. So come on, let's get heads, please. Oh, it's so unfortunate. If we had gotten heads, we would have been able to get more Pokemon set up here. So now we just have to get an Orbeetle with right hand. At least with 2 energies, we can get 2 Pokemon into play. And even though Orbeetle is resistant to fighting, it's not gonna be enough to save it from getting knocked out with Ting Lu. So with Charizard EX, I think I'm gonna just set up these 2 Charizards and then go with that. Their other Pokemon doesn't have any other energies on it, so Ting Lu EX is dealing 130 damage. Or was it 150? And it's not gonna be. It's gonna require them at least 3 attacks to knock out one of our Charizard EX. So that should give us enough time, hopefully, to set up. Dude, they're gonna boss. They're gonna boss. Okay. I'm okay with that, because that leaves our Orbeetle alive, and that will actually help us to set up more Pokemon here. And once we get our hands on our Cheryl, we might be able to just full heal our Charizard EX. So I'm going to just try and put these 2 energies to Charizard EX and have it retreat. We might lose it. It might get knocked out, but that's fine. I don't think it will though, because even if they attack it for one more time, 150, if we retreat with it, and they're only dealing 2 damage counters and their bench is full, so we should be able to survive. So I'm just gonna retreat into Orbeetle, and I'm just gonna use Evomancy one more time. Both our Charizard will survive here unless they boss it. So Charizard with a Burn Brightly for sure, and Pidgeot EX to get us whatever card we want in the deck. Unfortunately, our Gallade is in our hand, so we can't really use it, but that's fine. Pidgeot EX is perfect. So both our Charizard survives. We can use Pidgeot EX to get Cheryl. Man, if we can only get an energy from our top deck, that would be insane. That that would be insane. But okay, I'm okay with that actually. So they put it on our Burn Brightly Charizard. I can put my... I'll just pivot into Pidgeot EX. Since it has free retreats, I can just retreat it, right? So what I could do is use right hand and just accelerate an energy to this Charizard. And then what I could do is just get another fire energy. Right, just to ensure that we have another energy to attack. And then I'm gonna use Cheryl, because right now Ting Lu EX is actually turning off our Charizard's Burn Brightly ability. So just keep that in mind. Always be mindful of that. So we're attacking for 240 damage. And yeah, so in our next turn, what we're gonna do is use Cheryl, and that will allow us to find an energy with Pidgeot EX, and that also turns on Charizard's Burn Brightly ability. We can attack for a single energy in our next turn. So Cheryl, hopefully they don't use Iono or Judge to shuffle our hand back to the deck, but as of right now we should be okay. But our main goal here is to not let Ting Lu's ability affect us from using our abilities. Okay, they're gonna use Wild Impact, but Charizard EX just has so much HP that it's not gonna be enough to knock it out at all. We got a double turbo energy. Since our Pidgeot EX is safe, we can actually use that to get another energy here. Use Cheryl. Full heal everybody. That's going to discard all the energies attached. And then we can use Charizard EX for a single energy to attack. 240 damage. And if I had Galley, that would be awesome. But yeah, we're going to contend with this. If we can get our Panic Mask, that would be awesome. So now that their Koraidon EX actually it cannot attack this turn unless they have a switch. They can switch out their one of their other attackers, but we'll just knock it out. And we're not too worried, right? We're not too worried because none of their Pokemon can deal a one-hit knockout to any one of our Pokemon, except for Charizard with the Burn Brightly. Now, Pidgeot EX is resistant to fighting, so since it is considered a flying type, they're gonna attack for 150 Land Scoop to our Charizard, the 2 damage counters. So now it turns off its ability, but our Pidgeot EX is safe. So now we can just use that to get another energy. And yeah, there you have it. We have 2 left in the deck. So this is gonna be a little bit dangerous, but our survivability is pretty good. So we're gonna knock out this Ting Lu EX, and thanks to the Panic Mask guide, the Panic Mask. Do not underestimate that tool card. That's one of my favorite tool cards right now. And their Koraidon EX will have no way to damage our Charizard EX because it has 40 HP or less. So there you have it. We are immune to its damage. Now they can't knock out our Charizard EX. So what is my opponent to do? I have no idea, but we're just gonna play this through. They're gonna use Escape Rope. I could just use... I mean, I could survive an attack either way, Pidgeot or Charizard EX. See, if I put Pidgeot EX in the active spot, they'll be dealing, what, 200 damage, but that's... puts it closer to getting knocked out, but that's fine. Because as long as we can maintain our Charizard EX from getting knocked out, I think that's good. Because if they 2-hit knock out our Charizard EX, those are our main attackers. They'll need at least 2 prizes to get our Charizard EX out of the picture. But their Koraidon EX cannot knock out one of our Charizards, so we should be safe with that. And it's going to take a few hits before they knock out our other ones. So Pidgeot EX is our best option. We're just going to pivot out. They don't even attack, so they're going to put Hawlucha in the active spot. And we're just going to use Quick Search for the meantime. Use Boss Orders to finish off their Koraidon EX. And yeah, just going to go for Ting Lu actually. We have enough firepower to knock it out. That's going to get rid of this. We don't have to worry about its ability lock. And again, their Koraidon EX cannot damage our Charizard. So yeah, we are in control, guys. So ability lock control or panic mask control, which one would you pick? I pick panic mask, guys. But yeah, I think my opponent has been outmatched here with our strategy, and I don't know how else my opponent can win here. First of all, their Koraidon cannot damage our Charizard EX, and unless they boss, they really cannot knock out any of our other Pokemon except for Charizard. But that's not gonna make a big deal because we have 2 fire energies on our active already. So what would you do in this situation, guys? What would you do in this situation if you were my opponent? But they don't have any cards left in their deck. What am I saying? They're just gonna lose anyways. So there it is. There it is, guys. There's the win. Good game. Very good game. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.